there friends, it's 3 weeks now since I last posted a video, and I posted that video after travels through Hoi An, Saigon, and then I was in Byron Bay here in Australia when I posted that last video. And during those travels, at the first part of those travels, I was still hopeful that the world might contain the coronavirus. There were still hopeful signs, especially in Vietnam where I was. And then when I arrived in Byron Bay, the situation started to escalate globally. This was no longer an illness afflicting China, Korea, Japan, and by then it was already, numbers in Italy were rising rapidly. In the 3 weeks since then, this has become a global economic crisis as well as a global health crisis. Vietnam, like most countries in the world, has closed its borders, so international tourism has been shut down pretty much all over the world now, and it's not just international tourism anymore that's shutting down. The international economy is shutting down as well. Vietnam continues to perform impressively well in its effort to contain the spread of the coronavirus, and there are some really big challenges. When I checked last week, Vietnam was at the top of developing countries for testing of the virus, and anyone who's been watching it, I saw the response firsthand when I was in Vietnam, and I've been following it closely since I left, and it continues to be very impressive. And it's not, of course, there is the sort of the state power at work there, but it's not just that. So I'm now back in Sydney, and I'm very lucky. I'm well. I'm obviously practicing social distancing and laying very low here, spending most days in my place here. But as you look at the terrible suffering and hardship that people are facing all over the world, whether it be those suffering the illness or those suffering the economic impacts, I feel very fortunate. But we're certainly impacted. We've closed the Old Compass Cafe. We've put that on ice for now. And I hope we're able to open it again soon, but it's really hard to know at this point how this is going to play. One of the privileges of doing what I do is that I get to meet people all over the world, and as I look at this coronavirus impacting in countries throughout Southeast Asia and throughout the West, I'm reminded of people that I've met recently and in the past, who are in cities and places that are severely affected at the moment. So if you're one of those people, we're thinking of you, and wherever you are, I hope you're holding up okay. I hope whether it be the sort of health or economic impacts this thing is having, whatever the impact is, I hope you're finding your way through it okay. But one of the questions I've been wrestling with is what a travel website like Rusty Compass does when you can't travel. And of course, I suppose the obvious thing is to look through all those fabulous things, all those wonderful travels over recent months and years that haven't ever made it onto the website. So happily there is a lot of stuff, particularly in the last 12 months, there's a lot of stuff that should be on, that should have been made its way onto our YouTube channel that hasn't. So I'm going to start spending some time sifting through some of the archives, and hope to show you some interesting travels over the weeks ahead. I think the first video I'm going to start close to home. While I was in Byron Bay recently, I visited what was one of the first schools that my father taught at in this most remote, most gorgeous place, and so I'll pull together a little video about that school in the New South Wales Northern Rivers where my father taught in the 1950s. Thanks very much for watching. As I say, I hope you're well. Hope your families and friends are doing okay as well. And we'll be in touch again very soon. Cheers.